This next cojones goes to a man who's dear to my heart for standing up for stand-up. When dozens of Netflix employees walked out over Dave Chappelle's reckless decision to perform comedy on his comedy special, CEO Ted Sarandos could have pulled the special and replaced it with more episodes of Who Wants to Watch Koreans Get Killed. But instead, he reminded his Netflix employees that comedy exists to push boundaries and told them if you'd find it hard to support our content breadth, Netflix may not be the best place for you. So, for making the phrase, "Don't let the door hit you in the ass," never sound better, this is for you, Ted.
So, Maher isn't finished waging war on Hollywood's woke darlings. Recently, he blasted a handful of stars for shoving the woke agenda down everyone's throats and torched them for being completely detached from reality. Classic Maher, he shredded their flimsy arguments, exposing the hypocrisy and hollow theatrics behind their virtue signaling. There's plenty to unpack here, so let's dive in.
But there's no getting around the fact that what was on the mind of the liberals that night in Brentwood, or wherever we may have been, was that the most powerful witch hunters now were coming from Twitter, the Ivy League, and the progressive left. J.K. Rowling used to be a villain to the right because she wrote books about witchcraft. Now she's a villain to the left because she has the crazy belief that there's more to being a woman than pronouns and lipstick.
Maher kicked off the evening by pointing out a brutal irony. The woke left loves to worship its heroes until those heroes dare say something that doesn't fit the script. Then, just like that, they're excommunicated. J.K. Rowling may be the most infamous example, but she's hardly alone. Elon Musk was once Silicon Valley's golden boy. Joe Rogan was the edgy voice of progressives, and even Maher himself was celebrated as a liberal firebrand. Yet the moment they voiced unpopular opinions, the woke mob turned on them with claws out. Loyalty, it seems, lasts only as long as conformity does.
So that was the point of the evening. How do we take a stand against cancel culture? And I suggested, since we were mostly all in show business, that we start an award show to honor the brave people who have fought back. Well, I gotta tell you, the idea was met with great enthusiasm by everyone, and in short order, different people were suggesting the ways that their varied talents could be put to use. And then, of course, being Hollywood, nothing happened. But it's still a good idea, so I'm gonna do it right here, right now, and not only that, we're gonna do it every year.
So, if you're wondering what Maher's really saying, here's the breakdown. He wants to crown Hollywood's true rebels, the stars who refuse to kneel before the cancel culture inquisition. These are the ones who didn't grovel, didn't issue those carefully scripted PR apologies, and didn't delete their statements just to appease the mob. Instead, they doubled down, stood their ground, and reminded everyone that free speech still matters. Even in Hollywood's echo chamber, Maher is essentially saluting the rare few who didn't sell their souls for applause. And honestly, in today's climate, that kind of defiance deserves a standing ovation.
Our first award goes to the president of my alma mater, Cornell University, Martha Pollack. This month, students there demanded trigger warnings before all the lectures in case any of the adult subjects you specifically went to college to learn about came up. And Martha said, yeah, no, we're not doing that. She didn't cave in or hire a new dean of sensitivity. She just said, no, college is for introducing you to new ideas, not for kissing your and making you feel wonderful and always right.
If every university had the backbone and clarity of Martha Pollack, we'd be shaping a generation of bold leaders grounded in common sense rather than ideological fluff. For too long, higher education, especially in the years leading up to Trump, degenerated into a breeding ground for bizarre, impractical ideas that eroded the very moral foundation of society. Campuses became echo chambers where dissent was silenced, conformity was glorified, and intellectual curiosity was replaced by political correctness. Yet even before Trump's presidency, voices like Martha Pollack's refused to cave. She stood firm against the rising tide of wokeism, protecting the integrity of education. That courage, rare as it is, makes her worthy of the recognition Maher is handing out.
You're thinking of brunch with your parents. I'm just amazed at how this generation can simultaneously be too sensitive for anything distasteful and somehow also so into eating. So, Cornell, I present you with these balls. I sure could have used them when I was there.
When you take a hard look at the level of deviancy in today's younger generation, it's almost impossible not to be stunned. On one hand, they pride themselves on being bold, liberated, and unapologetically edgy, indulging in behaviors that would make their grandparents faint. Yet on the other hand, these same young people crumble at the slightest verbal offense. The kind of degrading, debasing things they do to one another in the name of love or expression are jaw-dropping, and still, a single word, a joke, or even a different opinion can send them spiraling into outrage. The hypocrisy is staggering, and the irony is almost too rich to process.
Our next award goes to the place where many Cornell grads will be working next year, Trader Joe's. Trader Joe's, who for years have been selling a line of ethnically themed products, trading on the name Joe. For example, they have Trader Jose's beer. So, of course, one teenager on Twitter heard the word Jose and said it was racist, and then there was a petition, and then Trader Joe's management did the right thing. They burnt down all their stores and killed themselves. No, they didn't. They said, "F you oversensitive little."
I remember the Trader Joe's story like it was yesterday. The Twitter mob came for them with pitchforks, demanding apologies, groveling, and immediate re-education. Everyone expected the company to buckle under the pressure because that's what most corporations do these days. They cave, they issue long-winded statements dripping with guilt, and they rebrand themselves into oblivion. But Trader Joe's, they did the unthinkable. They stood their ground, they refused to play along with the cancel culture circus. And guess what? The world didn't end. Sales didn't collapse. Customers didn't storm out in protest. Why? Because most people saw through the nonsense. After all, there's nothing remotely offensive about labeling a product Trader Jose. It was clearly playful branding, not a hate crime. By refusing to apologize for something that didn't deserve an apology, Trader Joe's proved that sometimes common sense and courage are all you need to win.
Get a life and a sense of humor and released this statement. We disagree that any of these labels are racist, and we do not make decisions based on petitions. You see how easy it is? So to the home of the 19-cent banana, here, have some nuts.
Trader Joe's deserves every ounce of applause for standing tall against the so-called woke mob. In an era where most companies panic at the first sign of online outrage, Trader Joe's proved that courage still pays off. Their stand is a powerful reminder that anyone can push back and still come out on top. The mob isn't as mighty as it pretends to be. They're not an unstoppable army, just a handful of loud, perpetually outraged voices screaming into the void, especially on Twitter. And once you realize that, their power evaporates. Trader Joe's showed us exactly how it's done.
This next cojones goes to a man who's dear to my heart for standing up for stand-up. When dozens of Netflix employees walked out over Dave Chappelle's reckless decision to perform comedy on his comedy special, CEO Ted Sarandos could have pulled the special and replaced it with more episodes of Who Wants to Watch Koreans Get Killed. But instead, he reminded his Netflix employees that comedy exists to push boundaries and told them if you'd find it hard to support our content breadth, Netflix may not be the best place for you. So, for making the phrase, "don't let the door hit you in the ass," never sound better, This is for you, Ted.
Even comedians, people whose very job is to push boundaries and make us laugh at life's absurdities, haven't been spared by the wrath of cancel culture. The woke mob, with its endless appetite for outrage, has gone after some of the biggest names in comedy. Dave Chappelle, dragged through the mud for daring to joke about taboo subjects. Kevin Hart, canceled from hosting the Oscars over decade-old tweets he'd already addressed. Joe Rogan, attacked for conversations on his podcast that didn't toe the approved narrative. Even Rob Schneider, known for his goofy humor, wasn't immune to their relentless crusade. What's insane is that comedy has always thrived on challenging norms and poking fun at society's hypocrisies. But in today's climate, one off-script joke is treated like a criminal act. The irony is painful. The people most dedicated to free expression are the ones being silenced the fastest.
You know, when movie lovers get together these days, one phrase that comes up a lot and always makes me sad is, "Yeah, you couldn't make that one today." Top of that list is the great Tropic Thunder, which the scolds have been after for years. But in February, Ben Stiller tweeted, "I make no apologies for Tropic Thunder. It's always been a controversial movie since when we opened, proud of it and the work everyone did on it." See, people, it's not that hard. He said it, and he still got a commercial. And the lesson is, if you stand up to the mob for just a day or two, their shallow, impatient, immature, smartphone-driven, gerbil minds will forget about it and go on to the next nothing burger, and you still will have your cojones.
Yep, Maher didn't mince words when he reminded Hollywood celebrities that standing up to the woke mob isn't a death sentence for their careers. Too many stars live in constant fear of online backlash, terrified that a trending hashtag will destroy everything they've built. But Maher laid it out plainly. At worst, you'll face a storm of brainless Twitter rants for a day or two, then the mob will move on to its next target. Careers aren't ended by a couple of angry threads. They're ended by cowardice and silence. The real danger lies in surrendering your voice just to please a group that will never truly be satisfied. Maher's message was simple but powerful. Stop groveling, stop apologizing for common sense, and stop letting fear dictate the truth you speak. In the end, audiences respect courage far more than scripted compliance.
Miley Cyrus once said, "I am moving if Trump is my president. I don't say things I don't mean." Here she is looking miserable, having to endure America at the Grammys last Sunday. I guess she flew back from Tajikistan.
Maher then aimed his sights directly at the Hollywood stars who love to posture but crumble the moment real courage is required. Remember the flood of celebrities who swore up and down they'd pack their bags and leave America if Trump ever won the presidency. They made grand declarations on late-night shows, red carpets, and Twitter feeds, promising exile in the name of principle. Yet, fast forward 9 months into Trump's presidency, and where are they? Still in Hollywood, still sipping champagne, still living their best lives under the very administration they claimed was unlivable. Not a single moving truck in sight. Maher called it what it is: pure, unfiltered hypocrisy. Empty threats for applause, empty words for clout. If you're going to scream about resistance, at least follow through. Otherwise, it's all performance. A script written for the cameras, not a stand rooted in conviction.
In 2016, Eddie Griffin said, "If Trump wins, I'm moving to Africa." Apparently very slowly, because in Trump's 4 years, he only got as far as Van Nuys. George Lopez once said that if Trump won, he won't have to worry about immigration. We'll all go back. George Lopez still here.
Hollywood celebrities are the absolute last people anyone should ever look to for serious advice. These are not philosophers, thought leaders, or visionaries. They're entertainers whose entire existence revolves around applause. Their words bend with the crowd, their values shift with the trends, and their convictions disappear the second they threaten ticket sales or streaming numbers. They're masters of pandering, carefully curating their image to stay in the public's good graces. And when the woke mob comes knocking, most of them fold like cheap lawn chairs, offering hollow apologies just to keep the spotlight. They rarely, if ever, have a principle they're willing to stand firm on, let alone a hill they'd be willing to die on. Their moral compass points only toward relevance and fame. If you're looking for courage, consistency, or truth, Hollywood is the very last place you'll find it. At the end of the day, Maher's takedown of Hollywood and the woke mob wasn't just comedy, it was a reality check. He reminded us that cancel culture only has as much power as people are willing to give it. Trader Joe's proved resistance works. Comedians proved laughter can't be silenced. And voices like Martha Pollack showed courage isn't extinct in academia. Hollywood elites may posture and pander, but real influence comes from those who stand their ground. Maher's message is clear: stop bowing to empty outrage and start defending common sense. In today's climate, defiance isn't risky, it's necessary. And on this note, we draw the curtains on today's video. If you enjoyed it, then hit the like button and subscribe to this channel for more videos like this. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.